Hi guys. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Teal. It's been a while since my last video because we took in someone to stay with us, which made it difficult for voiceovers, and I also got sick for about a month. You can hear my voice now. I'm sick again. It actually turned out that I have allergies to, I have indoor allergies. So I have 3 rabbits and, no, 2 rabbits, 3 cats, and we're fostering 1 dog. And I found out that I am pretty sure I'm very allergic to the dog. She's very, very energetic and it's very hard to pet her. So one day not too long ago, after my month of mostly sick was getting better, I pet her for a long time because she was being very good. And not too long after that, my eyes were itchy, I couldn't breathe, I kept sneezing, my nose was running constantly, it was terrible. So I'm back, even though I'm still not feeling too great and my voice is a little crazy. I'm back because I want to keep doing this. So in that time, not too long after one of my last videos, or maybe even before my last video or two, I finished this sketchbook. And this sketchbook is a little bit strange because I had started working in a sketchbook just like this, a Strathmore mixed media sketchbook, because I had some Series 400 watercolor paper from Strathmore and I loved it. So I thought, you know, I'm sure their like sketchbook kind of deal was great too. What I did not pay attention to was this right here, vellum surface. And what's even worse is I bought 2 of these because they were on sale. It was a great sale. I might use this eventually for something, but I really got into watercolor, and watercolor, as you will see, does not sit very well on this paper. It does cool things, but not cool things that I want to happen. So what I did was, after I got sick of this Strathmore paper, I got this Canson Montval watercolor paper. It's really great. I like Canson. I just felt like it was a student grade brand, so I wanted to try something a little bit more challenging. That's why I got the Strathmore. But when I went back to Canson, I tried the watercolor specific paper in hopes that it was a little bit more professional paper. I unraveled the spiral and I put all of the pages that I had gotten through so far from the Strathmore book into this Canson book. So what I'll do is I'll start from here and then we'll go back to the beginning of the Canson, if that makes sense. I'm sorry if it doesn't, but basically I started working on the Strathmore paper on May 27th, and then I finished working on the full book. I guess that's the best way to say it. I finished the full book on July 20th. So that's, what is that? May, well, it goes to June, July. Oh my gosh, I finished it in 2 months. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, it's basically, that's 2 months because you don't count May. It was at the end of May, so June and July. Wow, I'm proud. Okay. So on the first page of the Strathmore paper, I tested out some marker and watercolor, and you can see it just does this thing. It just pools. It doesn't soak into the paper, and I think that's the vellum part. So I laid out my goals. My goals were to start and complete the Meds 100 Heads Challenge, to start and complete Autumn Choose Aught's 100-Day Challenge, which is a challenge where you have a color palette each day and you work with that color palette. and I wanted to work on drawing different subjects, so not just faces, not just still lives. I wanted to draw a lot of various things. And then I also really wanted to work on contrast, because that's my biggest downfall, is I don't have enough contrast in my images to make them interesting for a long time. I think my strong suit is concepts, and then my big weakness is contrast. So here we go. Meds 100 heads. I do have videos of all 100 heads posted up. I'll put the link in the corner and down below. Ooh, there we go. So here I started, it's 100 days, and spoiler alert, I did not finish it. I will be restarting it. Another artist that I follow on Instagram named, let me see, her name is, I believe it's Little Blue Sun, like a sun in the sky. Her name is Little Blue Sun, but blue is spelled like the blue in blue cheese. She recently completed a 100-day challenge. She set a color palette. She picked 10 color palettes and did 10 paintings per color palette. And that for me feels a lot more manageable than having a new set of colors every day, at least where I'm at as an artist. Probably after Inktober, I will restart this challenge from the beginning with 10 color palettes. If you have any suggestions for color palettes, I'd be happy to take them if you want to list a couple of colors. I definitely don't want a palette that has more than 5 because I'm not sure, I don't know how I would handle that. So I think 5 would be the maximum number of colors in a palette, and 1 would be the minimum. I prefer 2 just to mix it up a little bit. Feel free to comment below. Some more Meds 100 heads. When I did this challenge, I really focused on shading. So like shading and contrast, where does the light fall on a face? And you can see like where it pools is really cool. But when I'm learning, it doesn't feel productive to have the water just kind of pool on top of the paper and then dry. Some more of the challenge. I started with 5 colors and it was pretty difficult. I didn't do the color at first on this page. I did it later on because this page looked really boring to me. Some more Meds 100 heads. So at this point, so the challenge was to do 100 heads in 10 days. I think it was 10 days. And at this point, I got so fed up with the challenge that I didn't want to do it anymore, but I was so determined to complete it that I ended up finishing, I think, from here on out in about 2 days, which was insane. This is number 27, so that's like math. That's like 70 something heads. I think this is all, it might have been gouache that I was using because of this granulation here, which is really beautiful. Came from, I mixed my own black, which I like to do. Yeah, I mixed my own black. So you see that a bit here. Let's do a close-up. I like when people do these like close-ups. Yeah, these were a lot of fun. I think one of the most fun parts about this challenge was that some of the was the variety of faces. So like different ages and different modes of faces. Like some were sculptures, some were costumed, various cultures. As I said before, I was fed up. So sometimes I did stuff like this where I put green. But you see how much variation there is in this? I did wet on wet. So I wet the paper in those spots, and then I added in the color, and this is somehow what happened. I didn't try to make a difference. I didn't want it to be darker or lighter. It just, that's how it settled. Some more heads. And the final head. So you see, I didn't do anything in between. It was just heads from then on. And then back to the 100 days. I saw a picture somewhere, probably can't find it now, that made me think of this idea to have a boat and some eyes in the water, which I made into a painting here. It's not great. I think I might redo it. And then I got some fresh gouache. It was Reeves. I had an old set of Reeves which didn't work properly, so I got a new set hoping that'd be better, and it is a lot better. But I have since then learned that Reeves is a pretty low quality gouache. But I was just swatching it. And then down here is another 100-day challenge with the color palette. I really like this color palette, and I like this, how this one came out. I was practicing some hatching and a little still life from a picture from Pinterest. Another 100 days. I was showing Jazz, my fiance, some watercolor techniques and what to kind of expect from watercolor. So these are little cutout bits from when we were doing that. I got these in the mail. After school, like college, I was awarded a week-long residency at Anderson Ranch. My bachelor's degree is in photography. That's probably why they sent me photography-focused postcards, but I just wanted to paste them in here. This is also when I started to get just sick of this book. I was determined to just fill up the rest of the pages with nonsense. This was just an idea that I had. I don't think it was part of the challenge. And then I drew these roses. This little doodad is from Black Mirror, if you watch that. We had just watched the last season, and I was wondering what to draw, and my friend said to draw this guy. I didn't really want to, so that's why it looks derpy. Playing around with watercolor, being bored. This page is, I was working on hatching, and I won a giveaway with Arteza fine liner pens. They're really nice. I like them a lot, and I just wanted to see what different colors look like together when you hatch them. Some drawings from Pinterest using watercolor pencils. I like how creamy watercolor pencils are and how dark they can get. And that was the end of that part. Then we move on to the beginning of the Montval watercolor paper. And when I got this book, I also got some Winsor & Newton designer gouache. And so I was just swatching it out, seeing what colors I could get from it. This is really pretty. This is all of them together with a lot of water. So I kept going with the challenge, and then just some doodles and things. I want to make these into stickers. I need to get some sticker paper to get that going. My friend and I both did a whale shark. Some plans for painting. Not sure why I did this. We were watching I Love Dogs when I was doing this, not this page, when I was doing this and this. So it's kind of like a doodle, mindless kind of thing. This was part of the challenge. This is up to 11. This is a plan for a painting I did, which I'll show here. Some more of the challenge. These are done in gouache. I had this idea of a red like string and core. So I drew some bodies as practice and then kind of added in the string wherever. This was a Draw This in Your Style for Shrill Art. This painting I redid on a bigger paper, which looks like this. Some animals that I combined at work. A unibear, a giraffe eel. I forget what we called this. I feel like it was a girelephant, maybe. Some faces. Our window in our apartment looks like this. Oh, more faces. I think I was drawing at work and I liked them, so I put them in here. I tried to draw the rest of our window because there's three windows underneath these two big windows on the top, but it just didn't quite turn out well, so I covered it. These pages are so thick and luscious. More of the challenge, this idea that I had that I love, an eye for one of the challenges. It was really, I used a flat brush like this to see what kind of shapes I could get. It was taped around the edge, but I did use a flat brush. Some more of the challenge. Jazz went to Portland. This was inspired by ArtU, by the way. I went to Portland, no, my fiance went to Portland and sent me a ton of beautiful pictures, so I painted those. There might be a video that's up. I know I had planned to make it a video. I don't remember if I finished it. So if it is, check it out. I went to the Atlanta Botanical Gardens and had this idea to paint heads inside of pitcher plants. And so that painting is definitely one of the most recent ones, one of the most recent videos on my channel, which you can check out. These are all the plans and the sketches. I was working out how it would look. This is one night where I drew some faces from Pinterest. I used watercolor pencils. I have random brands, some Prismacolor, some Generals, Kimberly, just random pencils. I got a Winsor and Newton Cotman watercolor set, and so I swatched them out here, played with them a bit. I really like the colors that Purple Lake can make when mixed with other colors. Oh, I went to the Center for Puppetry. I went to the Center for Puppetry Arts, and the show was Beauty and the Beast, and it was really interesting because all of their puppets were made from random materials. So the Beast was, well, actually a few of the characters were made with a mop head, and the Beast had antlers, and this guy was like a sack. It was really cool. So I couldn't get those characters out of my head, so I had to draw them when I got home. Part of the challenge, number 19. Here I was comparing some watercolor papers, and lucky for you guys, I have 3 more watercolor papers to share. 2 of them my mom bought, 1 of them I got. I'm excited to share that with you. It's getting really dark. There's going to be a bit of a shift in color. Okay, there we go. Ooh, big shift in color. Sorry about that. These are some hands that I drew as like landscapes. I've been really into the idea of making a tarot deck. And I always draw like these heads with cutouts and images in them. And I thought, wow, that's a really good idea for a tarot deck. So I'm considering that. I'm not quite ready yet. I discovered a saiga antelope recently, and so I drew that in the head. And every time artists ask for like animals, I always mention it because it's such a funny animal. Playing with watercolors. Some more from the challenge. This was 21. This was just something to doodle. This too. Most of my references are from Pinterest as far as like faces and poses. This is jazz though. And this is when I got the idea for this painting, which has a time lapse as well. I was trying to figure out what kind of purples I could make with the Cotman watercolors that I had. So I mixed every red that I had with each blue. So I have ultramarine and cerulean, and I mixed it with cadmium red pale, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, and purple lake to see what I would get. I like all the granulation that ultramarine causes. This is one of those days. I just gotta put something down, but I don't know what. This was number 22 of the challenge, the color palette challenge. Gel Arts does videos where she draws a creature. She generates 3 random animals and then puts them together in some way. So this one was coyote, aardvark, and hare. And you're always invited to try it out, so I did that. And then on Pinterest I found African wild dogs. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. Here I started thinking about Inktober. Yes, I started thinking about Inktober in July. And I was just trying to figure out like what can I use? Do I already have anything? So I had these like spray inks. And so I tried painting with those, like just dipping a paintbrush in it. It didn't quite work out, and I did end up ordering some ink just recently. I got it in the mail, but look, this came like this, crooked. And then this came with dried ink on the outside. And I've never worked with inks before, so I'm going to go to the store and see if I can exchange it, because I don't want to start working with it and figuring out if it's not right. You know, like if air got in, if it dried out a little bit, I don't know, like the properties of ink. This was also one of the 100-day challenges. I just did one color and I just really love how this came out. This was a good day as far as like inspiration. I really wanted to paint, and I like the things that came out on this page. It was a nice chill day. I started to draw Steven Universe and it got real weird real fast, but I finished it anyway, and it's kind of cute. Some more planning for that painting I showed you earlier. And then I watched Arlisha's Skillshare video on how to organize your professional creative life, I guess, as far as like making goals and like naming yourself. And so I went with visual artists, and some of my long projects are a children's book, which I'm not, like, it's kind of on a back burner. I want to double my social media audience, so mostly Instagram. YouTube too would be great. I want to update my Etsy shop and originals. And this is on a quarterly basis. So I did this. This is kind of happening. Let's see. Right now I have about 100 more followers than I did in July, which is pretty cool. Let's see about YouTube. I don't know. I left YouTube for a bit as far as posting and content. I have 51 now. So on the 20th of July, I had 36. So I've got a few more, which is great. Hopefully more now that I'm back in the game. My medium term projects, which are like weekly, are YouTube videos and painting and art creation. And I have been making almost every day, which is great, but I'm getting back into the YouTube videos. Some small projects, of course, Instagram posts daily, putting something in my sketchbook, and maintaining Instagram and YouTube as far as like commenting, engaging, connecting with others. And then these were just some YouTube video ideas. Here, I'm finally doing the sketchbook tour. I did do the paper comparison. I do want to do the 10-minute, 1-minute, 10-second challenge because I always think it's really cool when other artists do it and it's funny, especially when it gets down to the 10 seconds. And I want to do the 3-color challenge. I'd probably do it in watercolor because that's what I'm most comfortable with. And yeah, that's my Frankenstein sketchbook for May until July. And the great news is I'm almost done with my next sketchbook. It's a lot smaller, but it's got more pages. It probably equals out to about the same thing, but I'm almost done. This is all I have left, guys. That's it. So there will be another one very soon. Thank you for sticking with me and watching my video. Here's to much more. Thank you.